Delighted to cross to Rosarito, Mexico, where we're joined by our friend Thomas Markle, the father of the Duchess of
Meghan Markle says she was born in 1981. Sounds simple enough, right? That's the official story the world has heard for years. But wait, her own father, Thomas Markle, is waving a giant red flag, saying the math doesn't add up. And let's be real, when a father calls out his daughter like this, it's not just family drama. It's explosive. Here's the twist. An old issue of 17 magazine once described Meghan as 21 years old back in 1997. Do the math. If that's true, it would make her 6 years older than the polished royal biography claims.
6 years!
That's not a small mistake. It's a complete rewrite of her timeline. So, the burning question is, what's real and why does it matter? When Thomas Markle speaks, people listen, some hoping for warmth or reconciliation. But instead, his words land like sworn testimony. Every line gets dissected, and each one chips away at the image Meghan carefully built for the palace cameras. Over the years, Thomas hasn't held back. He's hinted, and sometimes flat-out claimed, that the Meghan he raised isn't the same Meghan presented at Buckingham Palace. His words aren't just bitter complaints. No, they strike at the very core of her story. Dates that don't match, milestones that seem staged, and now an old magazine detail that screams contradiction. So let's put it all out there. Was Meghan really born in 1981? Or has her age been carefully airbrushed, rewritten, and controlled for decades? The most shocking part is that the evidence has been hiding in plain sight, buried in one small, almost invisible clue.
You're prepared to testify for Samantha against Meghan? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Page 90, 17 magazine, March 1997. That's the ground zero of this mystery. Some eagle-eyed online sleuths, bless their obsessive little hearts, were digging through old issues when they stumbled on a single line that listed Meghan Markle as 21 years old. On its own, you'd probably skim past it, just another detail in a teen magazine. But here's the scandal. If Meghan was truly born in 1981, then in 1997 she would have been 15, not 21. That's a 6-year gap. 6 years. And in the royal world, where documents and dates are the foundation of everything, that's not just eyebrow-raising. It shatters the entire story. This isn't gossip. It isn't some sketchy screenshot. This is ink on paper, a magazine archive anyone can check. And in the monarchy's world, documents aren't casual scribbles. They are bricks that cement a royal legacy. Birth certificates, marriage records, press releases, they're supposed to be untouchable. But bricks can shift, can't they? Remember Archie's birth certificate? It was quietly amended weeks after filing. Meghan's given name, Rachel Meghan, was mysteriously erased without any public explanation. If something as official as a royal birth certificate can be rewritten, then what's stopping the same thing from happening to Meghan's age? And that's exactly why Thomas Markle's words cut so deep. He's not just questioning his daughter's story, he's exposing a bigger issue. Whether palace-approved documents are really as unshakable as we've always believed.
To be honest with you, I love both my daughters. I'm not happy with what one of my daughters is doing. And I don't know what caused her to do this. We've had this conversation before. She's telling lies.
Fans online, they're eating this up. They're already comparing Meghan's alleged age mystery to Hollywood's notorious age games. In Tinseltown, shaving 5 years off your age is practically a career survival trick. But this isn't just about landing a casting role. If that page 90 line is accurate, Meghan's entire story changes. She wouldn't have been a fresh-faced 20-something trying to break into Hollywood. She would have been closer to 30. And when she married Prince Harry, all those glowing headlines about a modern 36-year-old bride, try early 40s. That's not a small tweak. It's a full rebrand of her life's timeline. And here's the scandalous twist. If the palace's carefully polished narrative can bend something as basic as a birth year, what else might have been blurred, softened, or rewritten along the way? That's the storm Thomas Markle has stirred up. Because if Meghan's timeline were truly airtight, his words would have been dismissed as nonsense years ago. But they weren't. Instead, every new detail makes the contradiction harder to ignore. Take her Northwestern University years. Officially, Meghan graduated in 2003 with a degree in theater and international studies. On paper, she was 22, the perfect age for a bright young graduate. But then, alumni photos started surfacing. In one salsa club snapshot, Meghan is smiling in the back row, totally normal, until you look closer. Her classmates in that very photo, many are now in their mid-50s, which places their birth years in the early 1970s. Were they just older students returning to school? Or was Meghan's real age simply closer to theirs than the palace biography dares to admit?
Markle has never told me a lie. Every single thing that she has said about either you or Meghan has checked out factually. And she is now suing Meghan.
And the whispers only grow louder. Fans say the differences at alumni reunions are impossible to ignore. What starts as curiosity quickly turns into suspicion. Because when you line it all up, the 17 magazine listing her as 21, the alumni photos showing her among students born in the 70s, the picture starts to look edited. And let's not pretend Hollywood is innocent here. One casting agent once admitted bluntly, if an actress is over 30, she loses half the scripts overnight. Trim a few years and suddenly you double your chances. For Meghan, trimming 6 years wouldn't just be cosmetic. It would completely change her career path. Instead of competing with women in their 30s for motherly roles, she could compete with women in their 20s for ingenue parts. That incentive was massive, but the scandal doesn't stop in Hollywood. It follows Meghan straight into the royal spotlight. Remember her 2018 wedding? The media couldn't stop repeating her age, 36 at the altar, a glowing modern bride. But if she was actually in her early 40s, that fairy tale framing collapses instantly. And here's the danger. The monarchy is built on credibility. Every small detail, every fact, is supposed to be unshakable. So even the suggestion that her age might have been rewritten isn't just gossip. It's a crack in the palace wall. And cracks like that can quickly turn into full-blown crises of trust.
I have no problem facing her in court and disputing what she has to say.
Career-defining, yes, but this tension never stays buried in old Hollywood archives. It comes roaring back every time Meghan steps into the spotlight. Fans vividly remember her royal wedding in 2018 when the media practically chanted her age. 36 years old. 36 years old. It was treated like gospel. She was framed as the glamorous modern bride in her 30s, bringing youthful energy into the monarchy. But if she was really in her early 40s, that entire picture-perfect narrative crumbles. Commentators argue this isn't just about vanity. It's about how the palace shaped the story. If the monarchy's PR machine can blur something as basic as a birth date, how much else has been polished, softened, or even erased entirely? That's why Thomas Markle's words echo so loudly. It's not just a father venting. It's a grenade tossed into the heart of royal credibility. Fans online can't get enough. They're swapping side-by-side photos, circulating screenshots, and digging up alumni lists. One detail alone might be nothing, but stacked together, the dominoes start falling. First page 90 of 17, then the alumni snapshots, then the edits to Archie's birth certificate. Each piece by itself feels small, but together they scream of a timeline that doesn't hold steady. And whispers of different birth years? They've been circulating for years. Some alumni rosters place her birth in 1976 or 1977. Old event programs apparently listed her in categories that didn't match her official record. Even casual conversations, fans claim, had people recalling Meghan as older than her publicity suggested. None of these scraps are a smoking gun, but pile them up and the echoes refuse to die. Then comes the palace paper trail. Remember Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor's birth certificate? It was originally filed with Rachel Meghan Markle, but weeks later, poof, her given names were erased. The document suddenly listed only Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Palace officials brushed it off as a consistency matter, but insiders whispered, unusual, very unusual. If even a royal birth certificate can be rewritten, what does that say about records from decades ago? Fans began to wonder, maybe this wasn't about paperwork at all. Maybe it was about control, a reminder that when it comes to image, even legal documents can bend. And here's the chilling part. If Meghan really was born in 1975 or 1976, then she wasn't a 36-year-old blushing bride at St. George's Chapel. She was in her early 40s. She wasn't a 22-year-old fresh grad in 2003. She was closer to 30. It doesn't erase her achievements, but it reframes them. And for a monarchy obsessed with optics, framing is everything. Commentators compared it to old Hollywood, Rita Hayworth, Marilyn Monroe, women whose ages, names, and backstories were retold until they gleamed. But Meghan isn't just a starlet. She's a royal. And when palace image collides with the public record, the fallout isn't just gossip, it's a credibility crisis. By this stage, the whispers weren't whispers anymore. They were megaphones. Fans pieced together timelines, stacking magazine scans, alumni photos, and royal documents side by side. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok compilations pulled millions of views, and the blunt question screamed louder than ever. How old is Meghan Markle really? The memes were savage. One joked that Meghan managed to graduate high school twice. Another mocked up a fake 17 cover, 21 going on 15. What started as an obscure magazine line had turned into a cultural flashpoint, and the media couldn't resist. Tabloids hinted at contradictions. Royal commentators clashed. Was it sloppy editing or something deeper? Some defended Meghan fiercely. Others pointed to the persistence of the clues. Thomas's interviews, the altered birth certificate, the alumni whispers. They made it impossible to dismiss. One GB News commentator even dropped a bomb. If Meghan is older than reported, it doesn't just cast doubt on her biography. It raises questions about the palace's vetting process itself. And that's the nightmare. Because if the monarchy can't get its most basic facts straight, what else might be curated? Reports suggest palace staff are quietly furious. No statement has been made, but insiders say the institution hates the attention. Why? Because control is everything. Every headline, every photo, every anniversary is micromanaged. A public debate over Meghan's true age is a direct assault on that control. Comparisons to past royal humiliations are everywhere. Prince Andrew's disastrous BBC interview, Princess Diana's shocking confessions that blindsided the palace. In all these scandals, the real damage wasn't just the revelations, it was the loss of credibility. And once credibility cracks, it's almost impossible to glue back together. Meanwhile, Meghan herself has stayed silent. Supporters argue that's smart, don't feed the fire. Critics twist it another way, saying her silence looks like evasion. The longer she refuses to address it, the more it seems like there's something to hide. Her silence becomes its own scandal, fueling speculation, headlines, and viral storms. At this point, it's not even about Meghan's birthday anymore. It's about the monarchy's ability to control its story. If Meghan's biography is even partly questionable, then nothing feels safe. Was Diana's story fully told? Were Andrew's denials vetted properly? Was Harry's journey as straightforward as presented? Meghan's possible age contradiction has become more than a curiosity. It's a mirror reflecting a deeper problem. Can monarchy narratives really be trusted in the modern era? And still, Meghan remains silent. That silence speaks volumes. Every time her name hits the headlines, the question rises again. Some fans cheer her for ignoring gossip. Critics insist her silence lets the story spiral. Either way, the longer it lingers, the more it cements itself as part of her legacy. Not just Meghan the actress, not just Meghan the Duchess, Meghan the mystery. A woman whose timeline may never perfectly align. And that leaves one chilling thought. If a single line buried on page 90 of 17 magazine can spark this much doubt, what happens when the next hidden detail surfaces? Because if ink can be smudged and records can be erased, then Meghan Markle's story may not be written in stone at all. It may only be in its second draft. And the next revelation? It won't just rewrite her past. It could shake the monarchy's entire future. So stay tuned, because this scandal isn't over. Not by a long shot.